touchdown passes last year. This one's knocked up. Bowers tips it to himself, and he'll score.
Snaps it anyway. Greer lobs it in the air. Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State. Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the left. This year. Here's a blitz, and Klubnik didn't see it coming. He got blasted by Kalen DeLoach, who has the ball and is heading toward the end zone.
What's going on, guys? We are back. It is episode 47 of College Football Talk. We are approaching quickly 50 episodes, but we are here at episode 47. And we have our week 10.
Yes,
week 10. I am losing count. Week 10 recap.
Nope, preview.
Week 10 preview. See, this is why I'm losing my mind right now.
Yeah.
We have week 10 preview. I almost said it again, but we got a whole bunch of games this week that we're going to talk about. Big slate this weekend. And Dylan, how are we feeling going into this weekend?
We're feeling great. We got some great weather here right now. I don't know how it is up in Gainesville, but
very good.
Nice and cool. Feels fantastic.
Yes.
We got some good games this weekend too for us to focus in on. So it'll be a fun one to talk about.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we'll actually hop right into it after. Subscribe. Make sure you guys are subscribing. Make sure you guys are watching as well, though. We get the viewership up from last couple episodes. If you guys haven't seen them, go back, and if you haven't watched the recap from last week's, watch the recap first before you watch this week's preview. So it'll set you up. And make sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube before the end of the year. And also subscribe if you're listening on Spotify as well. So we will hop right into it. We will start with the number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs and the number 12 ranked Missouri Tigers, as this is a battle for really the inside track for the SEC East. Winner of this really gets the upper hand on the division. Georgia currently is 5-0 conference play. Missouri is 3-1, but Missouri would have the tiebreaker over Georgia, so they would be in front first. So it's a very important game. This game is going to be in Athens. Expect a raucous crowd as usual. The fans there always get up for games like this, and it's funny. You just going into this year, you look at the stretch they're on, and it's like, these weren't games they were going to think about. But now, you got with the new playoff rankings coming out, you have top 12. You have number 12, number 10 teams in both back-to-back weeks coming to town. And then you got to go to number 17 currently. So it's a big stretch here for Georgia, and it starts with Missouri. Missouri is no slouch. They come in 7-1. And they have an offense that's very explosive. Brady Cook has played really well this year. Luther Burden is playing out of his mind. He is 5th in receiving yards, 5th in receptions per game. So he's getting fed the ball, and he's getting a lot of yards after it. So they have a really good run game. Defense can be a little iffy at times, but they are very explosive in the red zone, which I could see being a very key stat going into this game.
This Missouri team, they beat ranked Kansas State. They beat Kentucky, They beat South Carolina. They've looked pretty good for most of the season. They're no Missouri of the past, right? They're not the kind of just, middle of the pack SEC East team that doesn't do anything. This is the best Missouri team they've probably seen since the year they joined the SEC.
Yes, this will be a big time game. If you're looking at 2 big stats I found I always talk about going into each week of these previews. The battle on third down, the third down differential, or difference between the 2 teams on offense and defense. And then there's always another big stat that usually steps out or stands out. That big stat would be, I think, what's really going to determine this if Missouri's red zone offense versus Georgia's red zone defense.
Yeah.
It couldn't be on two separate sides, totally different, opposite sides. Missouri comes in ranked first in the country in red zone offense, so they're getting down there, they're scoring, and most of the time they're touchdowns. And Georgia is 101st defensively in red zone defense, so they haven't been the usual teams or the defense that we've seen the last couple of years, especially in the red zone, like where they're holding teams to 3 points or they're just not letting them score. Teams are being able to, if they get down there, they're more often they're scoring. So that is definitely somewhere I could see. The one outlier though on third down wise, I think it really is going to play a big role. Is Georgia, I think, is significantly better on third downs than Missouri is, and that's going to be a big thing, especially when you're looking at Georgia's offense compared to Missouri's defense. So Georgia comes in ranked third down offense to come in ranked third in the country. Missouri's defense is 59th, and defensively Missouri is only ranked. Where was it on here? Crap, I had it on here. They come in ranked in the middle of the pack anyway on sacks, so they're not really getting after the quarterback a whole lot. And like we saw last week at Florida, if you're giving Beck time, even on third downs, like he's going to eat you a lot.
He's going to pick that defense.
Yeah, he's going to pick you apart. They come in ranked. So, and Georgia, vice versa, is the best team on third downs. Defensively, the best team in the country.
Yeah.
Missouri's 60th on third down offense. So Georgia is able to stop you on third down, and they're able to get after you a little bit too. But I think that's just really where it's going to come down to is, I think, in the down low in the trenches, because if Georgia's able to get pressure and make Missouri stop the run, because Missouri likes to be a run-first team with Schrader. And they like to do these get off the block, like this tackle, or what do you call them? I don't even know what. They just like to get outside the tackles and get out there and run. If you're able to seal that and just keep them contained and make them one-dimensional, I really think Georgia's going to have a field day at that point. I think we saw that last week too.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right there. I think the biggest thing I would say with this game is that because I think either way, Georgia's offense is going to be able to score.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they're too talented. They're too good. They have too much cohesion for them really to be stopped. The question will be is if Missouri can score too.
Keep up.
Yeah, exactly. Keep up is the best way to describe it, because Georgia's going to put up their points. They're going to put up their yards. They're going to look good. But if Missouri can keep the game close into the fourth quarter, I think it's anybody's game. Even in Athens.
I agree with that right there. It just feels like if you look, I mean, Georgia's offensive ranks, and Missouri's no slouch on defense. I mean, they're significantly improved from when they were earlier this year.
Yeah.
But I mean, they ranked 63rd in passing yards allowed on defense, and Georgia's fourth in the country in passing offense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Georgia's offensive ranks, they don't give up any sacks. They're ranked sixth in the country in sacks allowed. They're third in the country in third down conversions, second in first downs, fourth in passing yards, sixth in yards per play. And Missouri is ranked 108th in defensive turnovers. So they're not creating turnovers. This feels like it could be like that LSU game except Georgia's defense is significantly better than LSU's, and they're going to score, and they're not going to let you score. But yeah, I 100% agree there. It's like if they got to be able to keep up, because what you don't want is to just do what Kentucky did and just fall behind early, and you're looking at the knockout punch happening with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then the crowd's involved, and it just becomes a bad day.
Yeah.
Bad day. So I think it's pivotal for them to establish they got to be able to run the ball and get Luther Burden as I'm very intrigued to see how Georgia plays with Luther Burden, because they're going to get him the ball. It's going to be one of those like a Brock Bowers thing where it's going to be like, you got to get your best playmaker the ball. How are the defense going to attack that? He wasn't really much of a factor last year, but he has to be something this year.
Yeah.
So I just think it's too much Georgia, realistically. I think without Bowers, it almost helps them, son. Especially what you saw last week where
they can spread the ball around more.
You're
they
able
don't
to
feel confined to getting Bowers his touches.
And if you're a defense, you go into the week saying, listen, we're going to have two, sometimes maybe three guys. Two guys covering Bowers with one. Another one is like a spy. We are not letting him beat us. But now he's out, which stinks. But it's like, okay, now you got to worry about Ladd McConkey, Dominic Lovett, Marcus Rosemary Jackson. You got to worry about Ra Thomas, Oscar Dell. It's just it opens up everything. And the way Beck's been playing, he's continuously gotten better. If he has a big game here, he's going to shoot up their Heisman candidate polls, I think. He's just going to continue to ascend. I said on Tuesday, I think this Georgia team's peaking at the right moment or slowly starting that peak, that rise. And I think they take care of business here. I think they cover.
I think so too. I think, yeah. I mean, it's a 13 and a half point spread, right?
It's 15 and a half.
It went up?
It's been at 15 and a half.
Okay. I thought it was lower.
It's been at 15. I think it opened it opened at like 16, I think, but it's fell at about 15 and a half. But I just think they cover. I think they cover, they win. It just depends on, I really think the start of this game is going to, because Georgia recently has been, starting games a lot faster.
Yeah.
And again, if this ends up being a game where it's 21-3 out of nowhere, like that's just bad stuff happening. So I like Georgia to win this. I think they're going to win. I'm going to say 41 to. I'm going to go 41-20.
41-20. Okay. I think it's around the same. I had 45-28. I do think Missouri is able to get a couple good drives in.
Yeah, and it's I'm just going to add on right there what you said. Like they got to have good drives, when they get to the red zone, you've got to be able to take advantage of Georgia's weakness in the red zone. You've got to score if you're going to have a shot.
Yeah.
But can they get there? Can they do what other teams haven't done, and that's get Georgia off the field and get Beck under duress? Look for maybe coverage sacks. I think that's going to be. They got to be able to do something, but I don't think they are. Give me the dogs all day long.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to LSU Bama. It's the CBS primetime game of the week, controversially, because, anyway.
It's a historic rivalry.
Rivalry. The game's always going to be good. Most of the time. Actually, every once in a while it'll stink. But yeah, game day's going to be there. It's Bama, LSU. It's going to be in Tuscaloosa. It's at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock game.
You're right, yeah. It's 7:30.
7:30 on CBS. I think it's, one of those times. And so it's
7:45. 7:45.
Which means it won't start till like 8.
Yep.
Because it's CBS. CBS games are just brutal. If you ever go to a game with a CBS game, every time there's a stoppage, 2 minutes and 20-second time coming out. It's like everyone sit back down. They do a great job at spreading the game out to make it a 3.5-hour long game when it doesn't need to be. But that's not the point. The point is that Bama, is continuing trying to stay undefeated in conference play. If they win this, they really put the SEC West on lockdown.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about how, where they started this season and how, shaky the offense has been. But somehow they have found a way. Defense has played really well. They're holding it down. And Jalen Milroe, I think they finally figured out how to use him. So he's been playing a lot better recently. If Bama loses, now you got some fun stuff going on because now you have – we're all assuming Ole Miss wins this weekend. They play Texas A&M at home.
Yep.
So, if you have – now you're going to have a 3-way tie pretty much for first place. Technically, Ole Miss would be in second or third. It'll drop to third because – actually, never mind. Because Bama beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat LSU, and LSU beat Bama. So now you got a 3-way tie going in here at 5-1. So that will just create a whole bunch of fun. And then it really could come down to next week with the Ole Miss Georgia game.
Yeah.
With if Georgia beats Ole Miss, then they knock them out. It's like an elimination game at that point.
Yeah.
But if we're focusing, that would create a whole lot of fun if LSU is able to do it. I also think if LSU is able to go in and win, it's going to be because Jaden Daniels is going to have like a Heisman type moment kind of game. I think we saw this a couple years ago with Joe Burrow when he went to Tuscaloosa and led LSU to win. He had that Heisman type game.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels has got to continue to play like that, how he's been all year. It can't stop now because their defense isn't going to be able to hold up. And so he's got to be able to play well.
Yeah. It's too big of a game for him not to play well.
Exactly. Let me see. Yeah, like you said, it's got to be – I mean, offensively, LSU is just really good. First and third down conversions, first and first downs, third in passing, 14th in rushing, second in yards per play, fifth in turnovers. So that right there is a big one. So LSU's fifth in turnovers, so they're not turning the ball over a bunch. Bama's only ranked 79th. What does that say? It says they don't create turnovers a whole lot, which is big because I think LSU, you're like, okay, do you want LSU's offense or Bama's offense? You're going to take LSU's offense.
Yeah.
So now you're like, okay, can we create turnovers or not? And I don't think that they can. What I do think Bama can do is get after the quarterback. They're 10th in the country in sacks, and LSU is 75th in the country in sacks allowed. So I think that's got to be it. They got to be able to contain Jaden Daniels because what has Jaden Daniels been able to do all year long?
I have to run and give somebody something if you want to do a solo section real quick.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool.
So what has Jaden Daniels been able to do all year long? That is create stuff. Outside the pocket, get away. That's how they pretty much got Missouri. He was able to just extend plays and make it all about himself right there. I mean, creating when the play seemed dead, he got to play there. And if you're Bama, you've got to be able to contain. Containment is going to be the big thing of this game because if you're able to contain it and play decent coverage downfield, like I know they can, they rank 29th in passing yards allowed, so they play solid D. And hold on one second. Dylan's back here.
Yep.
You back?
I'm back. Yep. I just had to give my roommate his towel. He forgot it.
Nice. So I was just saying, containment's going to be the big thing. If Bama's able to contain and play solid coverage downfield like they can, they're going to have a good day because they're going to be able to get after sack. Coverage sacks have got to be a thing here because they got to be able to just make Daniels uncomfortable back there. You know what I mean? Because maybe you watch if you watch the Missouri game, what did Jaden Daniels do? He just created stuff all around and single-handedly. That's pretty much why they beat Missouri.
Yeah.
Came back they were down double digits.
Yeah, I was watching that game. That was a good game too.
That was a very good game.
Yeah. LSU just has a dynamic offense.
Yeah.
I think Brian Kelly got a lot of criticism when he first came into that program, but he has already proven himself to be a guy who can make things work in situations where you think they wouldn't. You know what I mean? I mean, we had talked before the season started if Jaden Daniels should be benched. I mean, it's crazy to say that now, but that was a legitimate conversation a couple months ago. We were talking about if Nussmeier should be the new starter at Tiger Stadium. Yeah, but they have weapons. They got guys like Neighbors, who is a dynamic threat. That guy is so cool to watch. I don't know how you feel about him, but man, that guy is dope.
He's really good. I mean, he's the top right now in receiving yards. He is just so dynamic where he's at. He can beat you all over the field. Yeah, and he's going to have to. He is going to have to do that. Let me see here. Oh, I got to go to individuals. But if you're looking vice versa, so LSU's defense still stinks.
Yep.
They stink really bad.
Yep, no doubt about that.
Take out the shutout against Army. By the way, that's almost treasonous. they have played a little better. They held Auburn to 18.
Mm-hmm.
You gave up the 39. Although if you take away the last 2 weeks, 39 to Missouri, 49 to Ole Miss, 31 to Arkansas. Like they are susceptible to giving up points. And Bama is, they're not anything good, but they're 78th against the pass. LSU's 91st in passing yards allowed. What I really think is Bama or LSU's defensively 100th in sacks.
Mm-hmm.
But Bama can't keep Milroe upright to save their life.
Yeah.
They're ranked 129th in the country in sacks allowed. But bad news for LSU is they rank 91st in passing yards, 73rd in first downs, 101st in third downs. Bama's 36th in third down conversion rate. Just a lot of bad. They're 110th in the country in yards per play. So there's areas to just completely take out this Bama or this LSU defense. Like Bama could really just have a field day if they want, which is why this might be a shootout.
Yeah.
This could be like one of those 2019 shootouts where it's neither defense is really going to stop each other. But like I said, I think it's really going to come down to if Bama can create turnovers and take advantage of that. I think they're going to win this game because they rank 20th in the country in red zone efficiency offensively, and LSU is 125th in red zone defense. Similar to Missouri, Georgia, if you're going to get down to the red zone, you're probably going to score.
Yeah.
So, did you have something to add?
Nope, I'd have nothing to add. What do you think the final score will be?
So the line is currently +3, or LSU +3. I think LSU wins this. I think Jaden Daniels has that Heisman type moment. Whether or not he wins it, I don't know. I just think in today's college football, you got to have a good offense if you're going to win.
Yeah.
Regardless of how good your defense is, if your offense is really good, you're going to win a lot of games. So give me LSU to win, at least to cover. They beat the same team last year with Bryce Young. And now you have a significantly not as good quarterback in Jalen Milroe. If Jalen Milroe can't stay upright, I'm going to take, and they're struggling, LSU is going to score some points. I know that. So I'm going to take the Tigers to win 33 to 24.
Okay. I also have the Tigers winning. I just think their offense is a lot better still. Even with the cohesion that they've been able to make with Jalen Milroe under center there, I still think LSU is there's a big gap between those offenses. I think LSU wins 31-28 with a game-winning drive by Milroe to put them in field goal position.
See, Alabama wins 31-28?
No, I'm sorry, Jaden Daniels.
Gotcha.
I think LSU wins at the end.
Nice. Listen, how crazy that'd be if LSU gives Bama their second loss at home.
Yeah.
Like, that's unheard of.
Yeah, no, it'd be something to watch.
And it would knock out Bama probably from the playoff.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have any wins over really anybody except for Ole Miss. So, sorry, USF. We're going to move on, though, to Kansas State, Texas. This is big noon kickoffs game. And this is a very, very intriguing game as far as the whole Big 12 goes. Texas comes in with Malik Murphy leading the charge at quarterback. It's not going to be Quinn Ewers. Oh, I just blinked right there. Quinn Ewers. So it'll be Murphy. Here comes Kansas State. Kansas State's been rolling. They've added along like this 2-quarterback system with Avery Johnson, who can just run and just fly while he's doing it. Will Howard's still there, tossing the pigskin around. And winners of the last 3, and they've scored 41 points in the defense for Kansas State. Kansas State has scored 41 points in the last 2 games, and they've only given up 3 points. And I would say
their margin of victory has been by 32 points per game the last 3 games.
Yeah, so they're scoring a bunch, and they're not giving up a bunch. And if you're Texas, I like how the game's at home. I think it
Mhm.
helps.
Yeah, I think
But
so
I
too.
mean,
I think that's the
just
only reason I could even
yeah.
think they could win. Yeah.
hmm But this is honestly, if you're just looking at stats, it's a pretty evenly matched game. The only thing I could see, if the big thing is going to be, I think, if Kansas State's able to run the ball
Mhm.
and give Texas's defense some issues, especially from the quarterback position. Because if we've
Yeah.
seen this year, quarterbacks that can run have given Texas fits.
Mhm.
Kansas, Jackson Bean gave them some fits,
Yeah.
and Dylan Gabriel was a machine against Texas.
Yep.
Jalen Milrow had some spots, um, but if there's a team, if there's an area to pounce on Texas right there, that's going to be it.
Mhm.
Um, but like offensively, defensively, these two teams ranked Kansas State's fourth and third down conversion offensively. Defensively, Texas is third.
Yeah.
You know, very offensive minded team right here for Kansas State. It should be a good game. It's very evenly matched teams, though. That's the only thing I
Mhm.
could say.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I do with Texas being down Quinn Ewers, I do almost want to lean Kansas State here, just
Mm-hmm.
because. I mean, you have the guy who your entire offense is built around
Mm-hmm.
gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. There is no.
Right.
He might show. He's not playing at all.
He's
There's no
not playing
chance he's
this
playing.
game. He may be back possibly next week or the week after. It just depends how that AC is.
Yeah.
But like this was the big game that
Hmm.
is now all of a sudden, like you said. I mean, if Kansas State wins, it gives Texas their second conference loss.
Yep.
Kansas State moves up to 5-1 in conference play.
Hmm.
I mean, it gives. I mean, the Big 12 is going to in for a wild finish here.
Yeah.
You have a whole bunch of teams with one loss, a couple teams with two losses. So, I mean, it's wide open. And it's really also going to depend on how the Bedlam game goes, also. We'll talk about in a little bit or right after this
Hmm.
with Oklahoma State. But if you're focusing on this game, the nothing against Malik Murphy, but he's not Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
And so I just think that might be
That,
enough
that's
for
a
an upset right there.
yeah. I think so too.
I
Are you ready to make your prediction with this one?
I I am. I think Kansas State wins this.
Me too.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a close game because how
Yeah.
evenly matched these teams are. I
Hmm.
think Texas's weapons on the outside have got to be able to step up and
Yeah.
continue to play really well. Jonathan Brooks is going to have to play well, but I just don't. I don't know. I think Kansas State's just in another gear right now, and I just don't see Texas stopping it. I'm gonna give me the Wildcats to win outright. Give me them 34-30. I'm gonna take them
34. What was it? 34 to what?
30.
34-30. I was thinking similar. I'm gonna go 28-24. Kansas State pulls it out. I just think Kansas State, they're gonna struggle a little bit because Texas does have a really good defense. It is in DKR, and it's probably gonna be a sold out crowd too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Unlike those 11 a.m. kicks there.
oh, yeah. But I'm gonna lean Kansas State pulls the upset.
And we'll stay in the Big 12 as
Hmm.
we will, like I just said, we'll move on now to the potentially final bedlam for the time being.
Yep.
This is a game between two teams that don't like each other. State legislator in the state of Oklahoma have their sides with this game. And it's Oklahoma State. It is in Oklahoma State area, which is, where are they? They're in Stillwater.
Hmm.
So it's going to be games in Stillwater. It's a 3:30 kick, ABC. The biggest thing for me is it's going to be Ollie Gordon. If he's able to just run wild against the Sooners, and the
Yeah.
Sooners have given up a lot of running yards last couple weeks, or on the ground at least, that's going to be an issue. Issue. Because Ollie Gordon comes in ranked first in the country in rushing yards. He's had over 280 yards on the ground the last 2 games, and over 120, I think, the last 4. So they're feeding the rock. Alex Bowman's settling in at quarterback, so they found a quarterback after the start of the year where they lost to South Alabama at home. But they have turned it around, and they have one loss too in the Big 12. And that's why I really like Oklahoma State here.
Yeah, no, I would say I really like Oklahoma State too. I mean, I think being in Stillwater is huge. Last game in this rivalry for who knows how long is a big deal, and this is a personal game for Oklahoma State players a lot more than it is for Oklahoma players. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
it's just this is the game to win, as for Mike Gundy and his team.
Mm-hmm. If you're looking for Sooners out there that are looking for a bright spot, Oklahoma State's defensively is able to be taken advantage of defensively. Oklahoma State ranks 92nd in pass and 102nd in run defense.
Yeah.
And lucky for Sooner fans, 11th in the country in passing yards and 34th in rushing yards. Also 26th in yards per play. And Oklahoma State is 98th in yards per play giving up. So they'll give up chunks. But they're also able to score a bunch.
Yeah.
And if Oklahoma, it just worries me with Oklahoma, like they've been playing, they haven't been outside of the Texas game, like since the Texas game, like they haven't been anything like that we thought they were. Like I thought after the Texas game, like they were going to be like a machine, and there's not much going to stop them. And UCF about got them, Kansas got them, and now they have a team with Oklahoma State that's just as well been rolling. Ollie Gordon can't be stopped by anybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it feels like a bad matchup for Oklahoma in this game. That's why I love the Sooners here. Or not the Sooners. I love the Cowboys.
I have the Cowboys here too.
Yeah. I like the Cowboys. I like Oklahoma State's going to win this. It is a very close game as well. These Big 12 games are close and high, very high scoring. So I think it's a back and forth affair. If Oklahoma wants to win, they've got to be able to take advantage of Oklahoma State's defensive flaws.
Yeah.
I think Dylan Gabriel's got to be able to create, but they can't fall behind like they have been the last couple weeks. They fell behind to Kansas. They also, fell behind to UCF. You can't continue to do that. And you got to somehow contain Ollie Gordon. And Ollie Gordon hasn't let that happen much. So give me the Sooners, I keep saying the Sooners. Give me the Cowboys to win. Give me a 38-27.
Okay, so Cowboys win by 11?
Yeah. I just think it's a spot where it's close, but they can't. Ollie Gordon it's all Ollie Gordon. Team Ollie Gordon right here. This could be a big Heisman thing for him too.
Yeah.
He could be that non-quarterback if he just keeps on rolling.
It's a respectable score. I do think it's going to be really close. Like, I think it's going to come down to the wire. I'm going to go Oklahoma State wins 42-41. Oklahoma blows it right at the end.
Nice. Can you imagine if you're just thinking, if you're backtrack a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And just had that great game at the Cotton Bowl. You're like, just can't wait for round 2. Like,
yeah.
Just can't wait. And now, all of a sudden, Oklahoma and Texas if we both think they both lose this weekend. They are in deep trouble. Not even making the conference championship game. Forget the playoff. They can't win the conference title game. They won't even make it there. I mean, you could have a spot where it's Iowa State and Oklahoma State playing a Big 12 title game. So that's just wild of a thing after what we all thought a couple weeks ago. But we are going to move on, though, to our final big game to preview, and that is Washington USC. It's kind of felt like it's lost a lot of its luster, you think?
I mean, it definitely has, to a degree. I mean, obviously USC losing 2 games takes it down a notch from being a game to decide the Pac-12. to, just another ranked game. But the crazy thing is this game still does decide partially the Pac-12.
Yeah, because if USC loses again this week, they are pretty much done.
Yeah.
Or in deep trouble because that'd be their second conference loss.
Mm-hmm.
They'd move to 7-3. So if they lose this week, they may not be. They'll probably not be ranked next week, depending on how bad. A 3-loss team isn't going to be ranked.
No, but
at this point in the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Cal. I'm trying to think of positives here for USC. It's in Cal.
It's in the Coliseum, baby.
Yeah. Caleb Williams has been playing really well, or played well last week against Cal.
Mm-hmm.
And they ranked 7th in passing yards, and Washington's defense in the air passing defense is not good, at least statistically. Washington 118th in passing yards allowed, 128th in first downs allowed, 102nd in third down defense. USC is 21st in first downs, 7th in passing yards, 46th in third downs. And issue, though, for USC is that Washington, while they're giving up all that, they're only they're 34th in points per game allowed, and USC is 83rd. So, it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, and I really think it's the defense. The defense for USC is so abysmal. They allowed 49 points to Cal Berkeley.
Yeah.
Cal was a 2-point conversion away from winning that game. Do we understand that? They should have hung over half 100 on them.
Mm-hmm.
Cal.
Yeah.
Cal. It was bad, wasn't it?
Yep.
Wasn't it on the Pac-12 network too?
Yes, so nobody saw it either.
Well, thank God nobody saw it.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to watch that mess. And so if you're looking vice versa, Washington, 1st in passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
This is offensively. 3rd in sacks allowed. They don't get pressure. 13th in first downs. 23rd in third downs. 1st in yards per play. One big thing, though, if there's anything USC can possibly do, and that's that Washington doesn't run the ball very well, 120th in the country in rushing offense. But I just think the passing defense for USC sucks. 106th in passing yards. 116th in first downs allowed. 62nd in third down conversion defense.
Yeah.
They're 104th in the red zone. 92nd in yards per play. They're 106th in both passing and rushing defense.
Mm-hmm.
So while Washington may have success this weekend running the ball. And I'd be interested. I don't know how you think. Are you at all concerned about how poorly Washington's played the last 2 weeks?
No.
You think that's just sleepwalking through that?
Yes.
Okay. That you get that big win with Oregon, and then you had Arizona State the next week, where they were losing. If it wasn't for a pick six, who knows how that game goes?
Yeah, that's true.
And then Stanford was probably a 4th down conversion away from possibly going down and taking the lead. That 4th down conversion, he dropped the ball. It was wide open, just dropped it. So I'll be interested to see how Washington plays. Michael Penix hasn't played up to par where he's supposed to be at, but he could turn it all around this week. And I think it's a get-right game for him. Is that how you lean into
I absolutely believe this, yeah. This is going to be the easiest defense they'll play unless they play – because I think they just play Pac-12 teams the rest of the way. This will be the easiest defense they'll play.
Yeah, it should be. It's nothing that any other team hasn't had success yet doing. Yeah. Every team that plays USC, it's always a get-right game for them.
Mm-hmm.
You ever notice that?
Yeah, that's what it feels like these days.
Who gives up 49 to Cal?
Yeah.
Does anybody? Yeah. Who does that? Nobody.
And they somehow still won.
Well, it's because they didn't. Well, they'll give you up a bunch of points, but they'll play good 2-point conversion defense. Ask Arizona that, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah. This is the primetime game on ABC as well. USC Washington is a 3-point favorite right now. The over-under is a ridiculous 76.5, which is crazy. That right there screams just take the under just because. But Do you think Washington would cover that number?
I mean, I
Do you think they win?
I think
First
they
of
win.
all, okay,
I
that's
think they
what
win. I have a score prediction in mind,
what
but
are we thinking?
my prediction is they win 48-41.
So you had the over.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have the over just because I think USC can move the ball on almost anybody. Obviously, they struggled against
It's a
Notre
good
Dame,
defense, and Utah.
but you know, yeah, and well, Utah they still score. They still put up 30-something points. You know what I mean?
Well, subtract 7 away because one of them was a pick 6,
You're right. Yeah.
and then the other one they had short field off a turnover,
Mhm.
I think, and Caleb Williams went down and just scrambled one in. But yes, they
Yeah.
are able to score points.
Yeah. So I do think they make it look close on paper. I do feel like it's gonna feel like a blowout though, when you're watching the game.
Is it more like junk time touchdown to try to cut the lead?
I I think so. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
we'll see like 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter when they're already down big.
It's almost like that Colorado game from earlier this year against them, where they
Yeah.
were up big and Colorado cut it to 7, even though they were trailing the entire game.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. I just the crowd's not gonna be an
Mhm.
impact. Coliseum's never full,
Yeah.
which is pathetic.
I think
And
it could be look. I mean, it
it's
looks
gonna be
pretty good.
It's gonna be purple, is what it's gonna be.
I don't think so. It's a long trip to make, but
They'll make the drive or fly.
that's not a drive. That's a flight. That is a
They'll fly.
flight.
They'll fly. Some of them might drive, but
That's like Boston College fans going down to Miami for a week. That's a flight. That is not a drive. But a you know, like against the Utah with the Utah game, USC finds ways to get some people in there. It won't look empty,
no.
but
Yeah, it
mhm,
won't make an impact.
yeah,
I like Washington to win 45 to.
mhm.
They may hang 50 on them. Change it 52 to 40.
That's
Jeez,
fair.
it'd be
Yeah,
92 points there.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah.
All right,
I
we are
mean, like I
going.
said, I wasn't that far off either from there.
No, so
So
we both like the over. That's what
yeah,
we're thinking. Yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna go on down to upset alert,
Hmm.
where I have a whole bunch of games that we didn't talk
Yep.
about, and where I have the number right now where they're at.
Hmm.
1 second here. It's going to be Kansas, Iowa State. Iowa State
Yep.
is -2.5.
Hmm.
BYU at West Virginia West Virginia is currently a 11-point favorite right now. It changed.
Win out.
Texas A&M at Ole Miss.
Mhm.
Ole Miss is a 3-point favorite. Arkansas at Florida. Florida
Yep.
is a 6-point favorite. Wisconsin at Indiana. Wisconsin's at -8.5. Nebraska at Michigan State. Nebraska is a 3-point favorite. Penn State at Maryland. Sneaky game there because that's week before Michigan comes to town. And
Mhm.
Penn State has to go to Maryland. Penn State is a 8.5-point favorite. Oregon State at Colorado. Oregon State is a 13.5-point favorite. Out of that list, as we usually do, who is
Yep.
most likely to be upset, who is going to dominate, and who doesn't cover but wins?
So I'm gonna start with who doesn't cover but wins. I think West Virginia plays an actual pretty close one with BYU. It's a long trip for BYU to make, but I think being their first time in Morgantown, I believe, first time in the series history, I think they keep it close with West Virginia. Um,
Mhm.
when it comes to just outright domination, I think Nebraska is going to outright just kill Michigan State.
Mhm.
I mean, Michigan State, that's I have a hard time calling that a football program anymore.
Yeah.
That is a disaster with a television, with a camera for television pointed at it.
Don't let him play trivia though before the game.
And uh who I think gets upset, I'm in between two. I think either UF against Arkansas gets upset or Penn State at Maryland. Only because UF is going to be playing a noon game in all black which is just
That's
funny.
I'll be
That's
there.
just
I'll be
funny.
at the game.
You'll be at the game. You'll be see.
Boots on the ground for
They
that
play
noon
good,
kick.
but I think they're gonna. They also play. They play Missouri next weekend, right?
Yeah. No, LSU next weekend.
Even worse. It's just not. It's like the worst possible spot for Florida. You know what I mean? They have a jersey combo in the middle of the sun.
It's
You
actually
know,
supposed to be really. It's like a high of 77 though Saturday,
and
so it's not gonna be that bad.
it's
It
not the heat. It's
defeats
the
the
sun
purpose.
that beats down on you. Is the worst part with the black.
It just defeats the purpose of the black jerseys on there.
Yeah,
You wear those
and
at
then
night.
and it's also a really easy look ahead spot too, because you have
Should they be looking
LSU.
ahead? Because if they
They
lose, they
shouldn't.
probably
They
are
should
not going to win
not
a
be
bowl.
looking ahead, but
They
it
just lost their
absolutely
top
could be a look
tackler
ahead
too.
spot.
They just lost
You're
their top tackler too to a knee injury.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a look ahead spot, but when you look at sometimes like this is a look ahead spot for a lot of teams for some reason. You just lost to a rival.
They're looking at
You
Sam
got a
Pittman.
team that throughout the season has not looked very good, and then you play another rival.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a spot where people go, "Oh, well, we'll kill them in our new black jerseys," and then you get guys struggling against Arkansas in the fourth quarter.
Sam Pittman's going
However,
to put a brawl on, and KJ
yeah,
Jefferson's going to run wild on him.
I would lean Penn State at Maryland because Penn
That's a
State
good.
has just looked underwhelming since the Ohio State game.
Yeah, that's a very 50-50 game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Maryland is going to be able to cover that game. I think that number. I think Maryland covers.
Yeah.
Penn State's offense hasn't showed me anything in the game that Maryland always plays the big opponent. If they always get someone at home, like it's one of the big three, they usually play them well at home.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Maryland to cover that number.
Mm-hmm.
I think Penn State wins, but they don't cover. Upset alert. Who's on big time upset alert? I would say probably either Iowa State, just because you never know. Although I think Iowa State wins outright and covers because Kansas isn't going to. Kansas, this could be a classic letdown spot.
Yeah.
You just had a ginormous win, one of the biggest wins in school history at home. Now you go to Iowa State, and it just feels like a letdown spot right there. But that could be one, or I don't know why. I just keep thinking this one. I don't know why. Oregon State at Colorado just feels like a Pac-12 after dark upset right there, waiting to happen. Just feels like it. Not
No, I
thinking
understand
it will,
that. Yeah.
but I don't. Yeah. Who I think blows the team out? I think Nebraska is going to go bowling and blow out Michigan State.
You're gonna see videos of Matt Rule dancing in the locker room. They're gonna go viral.
They're going to crowd surf it.
Yeah. It's gonna look just like that video of Mac Brown. You remember that video?
I think that's all we got there, and we'll move on to our final segment, which is best bets. Guys, we went 5-0 last week. 5-0. I don't know how important that is, but that's important. So we're 19-13-1.
That's pretty good.
As usual, I got 5 best plays here for you. We got Nebraska -3. Virginia is a 2-point favorite this week against Georgia Tech. This just feels Georgia Tech's going to just lay one right here. Yeah. So we're going to take the Cavaliers to win this one. I never thought I'd be saying that, let's bet on Virginia, but here we are. Maryland +8.5, Oklahoma State +6, and give me Georgia -15.5. So those are the best bets of the week. Hopefully we do well.
I like those. Those are good picks. Picks.
Of course they're great picks. I thought of them. Anyway, that's how we're going to wrap it up.
Shorter episode, but I think an episode that was more concise than a lot of other ones we've done.
Yes, for sure. But as always, remember to subscribe as well as watch and like the videos on YouTube. Subscribe to the Spotify channel if you're listening. Yep. And get ready for a great week 10. This is going to be where November is where we start to separate the pretenders and the contenders. Mm-hmm. It's you can have some fun in October and September, but now you're getting into the grind of it, that stretch where is it going to make you or break you? You know what I mean? So some of these teams down the stretch, playoffs are going to sort themselves out, and we are in for a great weekend of football. Can't wait. Enjoy your Saturdays. Unless Dylan has something else to say.
Nope, that's all.
You guys have a great one. We'll see you Tuesday for a recap episode.
Yep.
Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.